So excited to invite our special guest, Dr. D, to join us today to share her purpose journey and story with us. So thank you so much for joining us, Dr. D. Where are you from?
Well, originally grew up in New York City, but I have not lived there in a very, very long time. I've been in Seattle now for close to 30 years.
Awesome. All right. Well, along with the audience, I am asking you to take us to the moment or that aha moment in your journey of your purpose where you felt like, okay, this is it. Something needs to change, and just share the whole story. And the floor is yours.
Okay, well, I've had two big aha moments, so I'm going to have to connect both of those. So the first one was when I pivoted out of my job in big medicine. So I'm a radiologist by training, and I was a breast cancer expert. I diagnosed breast cancer for a living, basically. And I did that for 16 years, and I loved it, really. And I had a really serendipitous experience kind of falling into aesthetic medicine. And I had friends who were doing it for 10 years and then were leaving and they were retiring. And they really encouraged me to look into it. And they're like, well, Kate, it's all needle procedures and talking to women all day, which you do now, but you make them happy. And I really had been diagnosing breast cancer. It wasn't really making people happy. I mean, I could get them through it. But it wasn't fun in any way, really. And so I looked into it and it seemed like, well, maybe I could do this. I wasn't sure, but I spent a day following them around their office, and it was an incredibly positive experience. And then I did my very first course, and the very first day was all on laser physics. Which, if you don't know, radiologists are total physics geeks. So I just love that. And not having been a beauty consumer in my life at all, I've never worn makeup in my life. And I'm 56 and I'm not wearing makeup right now. Um, it really was a foreign place for me to be, but I just loved it and it was really fun. And so I pivoted back then. That was about 10 years ago. And the second giant aha moment was as I got into aesthetic medicine, we do like Botox and laser and body sculpting and facials and stuff like that. And over the years, I got, it was really important for me to become an expert in that. I was a novice again, and I had gone from being an expert in this very highly subspecialized field to being new. So I had to educate myself in every part of it. And I thought I got, really good. And what I realized over time was so many people who do this part of medicine are completely operating illegally and outside the system. And they're practicing medicine without a license. They are ordering illegal products on the internet. And I couldn't believe that this was happening. At first it's like, well, there's one example and then there's another example. But before you realize it, you realize the industry is dominated by these people who I think are unethical. And once I realized that, I thought, "Oh my god, this has to change. I can't believe this is going on." And long story short, reaching out to various connections who are attorneys at different levels, going from the city attorney of Seattle on up to the attorney general of Washington state. Basically, no one's doing anything to police the industry. It's essentially operating outside the traditional medical system. So rest assured, when you go see your doctor and you go to the hospital, there's tons of laws and regulations, and all those places are being uh, inspected, regulated, make sure that it's safe. But in the medical spa space, it is not. And it is super dangerous. And you just have no idea when you walk into a place, what's okay and what's not. How do you know? So I wrote a book about my experience and I just published that in June, so last month. And I started my own podcast, basically trying to educate consumers because until there is any kind of enforcement of the law, it's kind of up to you to figure it out. So the book is kind of entertaining because it's about my experience and a lot of crazy stories going on, but also, every chapter includes, questions to ask, what to ask, how to figure it out. If you're going to go get Botox for the first time, or even if you're just going to have a facial, what to ask to make sure that it's safe and you're not going to get harmed. So that's my big passion right now. So that's why I'm out there talking about things. And I am hoping very much the next big thing is to form an organization that will actually um, do the legwork for you. And ultimately, hopefully, there'll be a national organization that can rate med spas or give you the information you need to know, is this place legit or not? Is this place operating legally or not?
That will be a
So,
great service to everyone. So I'm
uh,
dying to ask you, if you could share one or two of the stories that you've encountered that, sparked this whole
Oh
mission?
my God, it's so there are so many. I mean, the ones that hit me are the more recent ones because they just happened, and I talked to a couple of these people on my own podcast. But one woman went in for dermal filler. So filler, a lot of your listeners or your viewers might know what that is, but basically it's um, a filler that we put in the face to decrease lines and wrinkles. And it's probably the most dangerous thing that you can have done at a medical spa. Anyway, she went to somebody who had a very grave complication. Uh, he used a filler that was non-dissolvable, so basically not treatable if there's a complication. She ended up and he wasn't prepared to, treat it. He thought it just couldn't happen to him, and she ended up scarred, her whole face, lost half her nose. Um, and then the other young woman I talked to on the podcast recently went to a unlicensed place. They injected substance in her body, all over her body, that was tainted with a bacterium that gave her a rip roaring, life threatening, flesh eating bacteria infection. She was in the hospital for over 3 months. I'm sure that you've heard the headlines over the last few months. There was just an article on this last week of people with botulism going to places that are getting fake Botox. And I just 2 days ago talked to a friend of mine who's an ER doc here in Seattle who treated somebody in the emergency room who ordered fake Ozempic online and it was tainted. And I was like, what the heck was that tainted with? It was insulin, not Ozempic. And this was ordered, illegally online. And in case you don't know, I mean, if you have an overdose of insulin, you could die because all the sugar leaves your bloodstream. So anyway, it's fraught with bad things. Okay. And then, one other example, and I'll stop, is if you guys remember Linda Evangelista, she was a supermodel in the 90s. She's actually my age, basically. Um, she sued the maker of Cool Sculpting very famously. In I believe her lawsuit was settled in 22, but she was disfigured all over her body from this device that, they were essentially misleading customers into believing the complication rate was very low. And so anyway, she settled that at it for $50 million. So, I mean, the industry is insane and it's very, very popular. It's growing like crazy. And I just think that consumers just need to be aware that this stuff is going on so that they're informed and they choose a legit place that's actually run by a doctor as opposed to all these, illegally operating places.
Absolutely. So basically, consumers can get a good idea of the questions to ask and stuff like that from your book. So if you want to share the name of your book, what is the name of your
Yeah,
book?
it's called Med Spa Mayhem. By Dr. Kate D. That's me. You can go to medspaamayhem.com and that will get you to the website. You can order it. It's basically available everywhere books are sold. It's on Kindle, it's on Audible, it's on Bookshop, Amazon, everywhere. And I have a podcast of the same name, so you can hear these crazy stories on that podcast as well.
And the podcast is on your website, right? Correct.
Yeah, the podcast is on my website. And then also it's kind of basically everywhere you can listen to podcasts. So almost every podcast listening app will have it. Med Spa Mayhem.
Well, I really hope that all these stories will shake people into taking the extra steps to before they do, take these huge decisions because, we can all be impulsive in our life, but these small decisions can really impact the rest of our lives as we can hear in these stories. It's really scary.
It's a little crazy, and most people just don't know what to ask. I have a lawyer friend who's been on my podcast a couple times, and she's pointed out on several occasions, like, I'm a pretty smart person. And I just wouldn't know where to look or how to figure this stuff out, what questions to ask or where to look people up. And so it can be right now, it's really hard, but I'm trying to change that.
Awesome. Well, I just want to celebrate you in this mission and educating people and really taking a stand for that. And it's really amazing to, prevent a lot of people from a lot of misery and, you know, deformities and unfortunate events. So I really appreciate that.
Well,
And so,
hopefully that's what I'm trying to do.
yes. And we'll share your links so people can get in touch with you. And I just want to thank you so much, Kate, Dr. D, for sharing your journey with us and enlightening everyone about these incredible things that are happening, incredibly scary things that are happening all around us, and just that bringing that awareness.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's been great talking with you.
Thank you so much.